Thanks, Nat. There are fears of a fourth rate hike for mortgage holders as new inflation data paints a grim picture for Aussie households. Despite headline inflation falling slightly, the RBA's preferred trimmed mean measure rose from 3.4% to 3.6%, the highest level since September 2024. Treasurer Jim Chalmers described the figures as a very welcome set of numbers. Interesting. For more, we're joined live by Christian Bayliss, founder of Fort Lake Asset Management. Good to have you with us. So Jim Chalmers said this is a welcome set of numbers. What do you think?
I certainly don't think it's a welcome set of numbers. That underlying measure is the measure that the RBA focuses on. That's the measure that trims off the volatile effects of fuel. And what that ultimately shows is that inflation's still building in the economy, and that's going to be a concern for the RBA as they start to move forward to August when they next meet.
Out the back, you said to me, it's still hot.
Yes.
What do we need to cool it down? Another interest rate rise?
Well, potentially another one or two would definitely dampen demand, which would obviously take the heat out of inflation. And it comes back to this question, do we want to get rid of the problem quicker or do we want it to linger for longer? The more you do with interest rates earlier, the quicker the illness goes away, basically. So this is always a decision that the RBA has to make. They have to think with a compassionate hat on, but they also have to think with a hat of let's get the problem fixed and get it fixed quickly.
A big one for households is the fuel excise, which has come off. It's been off for the last 3 months. Yep. It's about to come back on by half. So 16 cents per litre will come back on.
Yep.
A lot of experts were saying that it was going to be inflationary at the beginning because you're going to have more money in your back pocket.
Sure.
It seems it has lowered things a little bit, but what happens when that excess excise comes back on?
Well, it's going to add 16 cents on at the Bowser, obviously, but then you're obviously going to add, you're obviously going to have inflation on the second round effect. So things that use oil, they're going to start to see the impact of that as well. So it's ultimately going to be inflationary. What we see in the inflation numbers and the dampening of the headline inflation numbers, that's all cosmetic at the moment, but it does ultimately put more money in people's pockets to help them get through the cost of living. But that can have, perverse consequences as well. But the RBA thinks about all of that. They've got a long-term hat on, and they ultimately want to make sure that they make the right decision.
So there are other things having bigger effects on it at the moment?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Christian, thank you so much. Appreciate it.